I'm coming on because I think I just connected a whole lot of dots. And it has to do with the rapture, I believe. Or it could be that God is taking his people to a safe spot, because what I have seen is not the rapture. But I do believe God has a way of keeping his people safe. I've been reading about Revelation, Revelation 6, or not Revelation 6, Seal 6, sorry. And I've been hearing about the 3 days of darkness. And I've also, this is a Feast of Sukkot, and the Feast of Sukkot, if you look at it, it lines up with, because it says that the Feast of Sukkot, that people tabernacle with God, and they have palm branches in their hand, and which alludes to Revelation 7, where John asked God about the people with palm branches in their hands, and he said that these are the people that came out of the tribulation. And I've been hearing a lot, and I was led to twice this morning, 2 different scriptures this morning. Like, I was just not really paying attention, and came across the Day of the Lord scriptures. The Day of the Lord scriptures, which are talked about, that was 1 Peter, that, and it said it was a day of darkness. It was a day of wrath and anger and judgment. And it was a day of extreme darkness and fire and blood and all that. And if you look at Joel 2, it says the same thing. So Joel 2 says that it's fire and blood and darkness and everything else. And then, so that's connecting those two, or many different things. And the darkness, I've been trying to figure out if there's one or multiple darknesses. And I think that during the tribulation, yes, there will be more than one period of darkness. But the darkness that is talked about in Revelation is the 3 days of darkness. And so, so I believe that the day, well, I mean, I'm not 100% certain, but it kind of points to the 3 days of darkness. And if we're being gathered together like Sukkot, then that clearly shows like God taking care of his people, and and that type of thing. Man, I can't. So, because in, let's see, that was Jeremiah, was it 30 or 33? And then Isaiah 42. But it basically talks about how God's people will be joined together, and sorry, I have a person that was trying to get over. But I believe that that the day of the Lord, it may be now. The day of the Lord is a day of darkness and everything else. And I get a strong feeling that the day of the Lord kind of sets off the really bad part of the tribulation. And I know that people have made a guess as to like 3.5 years for the 2 witnesses, which I think is accurate, and the 2.5 years or 3.5 years of the Antichrist. And I believe that they may, I don't know, well, no, I'm not going to say that because I don't know. But I've had 2 different taking away dreams. One, I was in a, like, I pulled into a driveway, and there was a red car with their door open, and there was a person, so I was looking at them from the side, and there was nothing but clothes on the on the driver's seat. And I knew, like, when you have dreams, you just know things. And I knew that the rapture had just happened. I was looking also at the moon, and the moon was going to darkness. Like, and I also had a knowing that when this moon, or it may have been the moon or the sun, I couldn't tell, but it was basically, it was a half, and it looked like it was starting to be covered over. And I've also had a recent dream where I was being taken away, and like I had a dream, and the sky was really, really red, like what you see during a really red sunset, where the sky is just lit up red. And for, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And so I basically floated out a door with my relatives around and up into the sky. So, and the reason why I think it's soon is because I've had 2 dreams recently where God was preparing me, because there was a guy on this prophetic channel. I can't remember what it was. It was like, if I remember, I'll try to post the name of the group. But basically, the guy was saying that there's a group of people that will that are going to lead and take care of others, and so that's what I kind of feel like will happen, because I've had 2 different dreams where one is I was in an apartment that was familiar but not familiar, and I went outside and there was a community, and I got the interpretation as soon as I woke up, and the interpretation is like, this is your community that I want you to take care of, even though it wasn't exactly like the people who would be there. God was just saying that, hey, yeah, this is gonna happen. And then I had a dream like a day, I think it was the next day, and basically I was going through a house and ran across, I believe it was 2 or 3 like women, I believe, and I saw 2 pieces of of workout equipment. And normally you see like the metal and all the different pieces. This one was completely made of wood, and God was kind of showing me, it's like I have more than enough capability to do anything and create anything. And then there was this little, he wasn't a kid, well, I mean, I would say like 10, 12-year-old, and his name was Tyler. And I also saw the floor, and there were like pieces of like wood being laid on the floor, and it looks like they were being laid down. And I've had many dreams where I was taken away to a certain location, and I've talked about this in my other videos, but I believe that the day of the Lord and all this may be triggered by the rapture, which is triggered by the 5th seal, which is the people coming out of the ground, as it says that that we meet God in the sky, according to the taking away scriptures. And these people are there in the sky are the ones that God just pulled out of the ground. But yeah, so I believe I've connected a whole lot of different scriptures. And I mean, if you look at the day of the Lord scriptures, I mean, it's clearly a day of darkness and all this other stuff. And I believe that all the other pieces have gotten satisfied with regards to to the person being in the holy place. I believe that was satisfied by by, hold on one second, by the I don't know if I can say this, with the you know what, that a lot of people pushed in order to keep their jobs. So so I believe that was satisfied, because it was the guy that had the L name, he also has the S name, and he has an N at the end of it, ton. You know who I'm talking about, hopefully I've given enough. But I mean, we've been in chaos. I mean, we've had major hurricanes, we've had all kinds of different things, and I also want to do other these other dreams that I've had. So let's see, that was April or May. I had a dream where I was in a courtroom, and the people wanted to go to behind the scenes, and so so we did behind the scenes, and there was this group of like 2 or 3 individuals, and they were on the opposite side, and they were trying to blame me and say that, oh, well, I did this, and this, and I was a little worried. But there was this person next to me, and it was a judgment, and judgment happens in that is the 3rd seal, where the black horse takes the takes the judgment and he puts it on the scales in order to weigh us. And I believe that all of us have been weighed, and those that are ready and have the seal upon us are the ones that are his, that are going to potentially either be taken to a safe spot or whatever. And also, there's more scripture with regards to him, with that, the black horse. It says, even though the wording has been changed, it used to be that it was a loaf of bread for a day's wages. And that has happened now. I mean, especially, I mean, all of our prices went through the roof, and there's a lot of people that are like big time up to their, well, beyond their eyeballs now at this point, and have no more money. They have no more debt. I mean, no more credit limit. And so I believe that's been satisfied. And then the fourth seal, and I looked at it today, and it was not a fourth of the people were killed. It's basically, it says that a fourth of the land was given to do whatever you wanted with. So it could be famine, plague, pestilence, sword, and all this other stuff that the evil one can use to get rid of people. And I mean, if you look all around us, I mean, we've had hurricanes that have done unbelievable damage. We've had floods. We have a flood going on in Roswell right now. We have another one going on in Vancouver. I mean, Mexico has been hit hard. We have all these different floods going on all over the place. So, I mean, in my opinion, we've had more than a fourth, and we've had the Sahara Desert, which does not get rain, and they've been flooded, or had a lot of water coming out of there. So, I mean, all these different pieces are being connected. But, I mean, I don't think this, I mean, if we look at this world and are honest, I don't think we can, I mean, the Passover and all that kind of points more towards like birth than death. And like winter, I mean, it's like death. It's like everything dies off and goes dormant. So it's aimed more at death than life. So I don't think that we have another year to get through. And these fall feasts kind of hint towards atonement and towards and to go home. And we know that the dollar is with the Brexit nations, potentially with their gold-backed standard, our dollar may not be anymore. Our food is disappearing off the shelves, and all of this other stuff is happening. And multiple areas are under threat. And I don't believe we have another year to get through. I mean, for this world to last. I mean, it's already becoming unlivable. I'm seeing wickedness going through the roof. I'm seeing people attacking each other over stupid, ridiculous things. It's like they're attacking each other over like people's driving habits, or they're going after each other with all kinds of different things. So Sukkot ends, I believe 23rd, 24th, and then there's the Simchat Torah. And there's a few people on TikTok and on other places that have pointed towards that as being a potentially interesting day. We'll leave it at that, where things go crazy. And that's at the end of Sukkot. I mean, it is and it isn't a part of the Feast of Sukkot. And Sukkot basically is 7 days, and you're supposed to tabernacle with God. And it's palm branches in their hands, and you're supposed to have a sacrifice every day. And it's supposed to be a Sabbath day on the first and the last of whatever. And so, and after that, there really isn't anything. So these are all, I want you to go before God and take these, I believe they're revelations, and I've connected a whole lot of different dots. And you can go to God with this and see if I'm right. But it just seems like we're on the cusp of the 3 days of darkness. It seems like we're on the cusp of things getting really ugly. And I know a lot of people have said the Feast of Trumpets is when people are called home. The way that, I mean, if you look up trumpets, like in the Blue Letter Bible, or if you put in shofar, you'll see that it's more of a call to action. It's a more of a, and if you look at Joel 2, it also kind of goes that way, because it says that the shofar blows and people are called to an assembly and to, or a solemn assembly, and we're to fast and to put on sackcloth and ashes and to go before God. And we are supposed to have done that and turned towards God before the atonement. And I mean, yes, there are a few places that I've seen that have turned, but people don't realize how far off they are from the truth right now. People don't realize that the way that we're living right now is not godly. We're celebrating these ridiculous satanic holidays. Like, people are actually, and I can't believe, I mean, well, I can, believing about Halloween. Halloween is like the most deceitful, like, abomination that has ever been created, and it's where they do all kinds of sacrifices and all this stuff and whatever. But yeah, so this is happening. And but yeah, and so Christmas and all these holidays, they're not in the Bible. These holidays do not exist in the Bible. It actually says, and for whatever BS reason, people think that the feasts are not something that we should celebrate, even though all the apostles, including Jesus Christ himself, celebrated them. And even after he was dead and crucified and went to God, I mean, they still celebrated for a long time. What was that called? In 300, there was a council, the Council of Nicaea, I think is what it was called. And it was basically when a lot of our stuff started changing, and they started trying to create laws and different things with regards to how Christianity should be done. And we haven't exactly been helped, because what's happened is there have been a lot of false prophets that have gotten in and altered the word of God and said, oh, well, you should go to us for intercession, and you should worship this guy with a big head outfit, and you should worship Peter, Paul, and all these people, where the Bible clearly says, do not worship them, worship God alone. And also, the Bible does talk about the falling away. If you look at modern society in the way, and I know that this may ruffle some feathers, but if you look at the way that the Bible says to worship God and how he wants to have things done, we've already fallen away. I mean, I've not seen anyone that supposedly worships God, and most people that I've seen that worship God don't do it the right way. They claim to follow God, and yet they're sleeping with someone. They claim to follow God and then go sleep with their mistress. They claim to follow God and worship Halloween and Christmas and all this satanic crap. Christmas, by the way, if you just change one letter in the word Santa, move the N in Santa all the way to the end, what do you get? Satan. It is absolutely deceitful and whatever, and this video may not last long because of all this stuff that I'm revealing, but I have to try. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Hopefully you got something out of this, and hopefully it stays up long enough for something to be out of. But I would pray over this video that it stays out there and gets to the people that it needs to get to. So thank you for joining me. Turn to God now, because it's about to get like nightmarish level bad. It's bad now with having very little of money and all this stuff happening. It's about to get 10,000 times worse. Your days of easy, relax, whatever is over. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you, well, maybe see you down the road.